Located in the remote Northwest Territories of northwestern Canada lies the Nahanni National Park Reserve. Rocky Mountain peaks pierce the fog against an endless sky, making Nahanni National Park seem more akin to Mordor than Canada. The park can only be accessed by boat or float plane by intrepid travelers seeking to conquer the rapids of the Nahanni River or summit the formidable peaks of the Nahanni Range. Its impenetrable forests and mountains might be the primary reason why Nahanni sees few visitors, but perhaps it's also because the park is shrouded in terrifying legends befitting of its menacing landscape. In today's episode, we will be discussing the supernatural lore that has earned Nahanni National Park the moniker the Valley of the Headless Men, and why many believe this UNESCO World Heritage Site to be haunted. When British writer and explorer Raymond Patterson set out to the Nahanni region from Fort Smith in 1927, he received an ominous piece of advice. Men vanish in that country, and down the river they say it's a damned good country to keep clear of. Lured by reports of gold in the area, brothers Frank and Willie McLeod journeyed from Edmonton, Alberta to the Nahanni Range in 1904. Traveling with primitive gear, they traversed hundreds of miles by train, boat, and foot during a numbingly cold winter until they reached Gold Creek. Their efforts were rewarded that year, and they returned to their home in Fort Liard with gold in hand. However, not satisfied, the brothers made a second expedition into the Nahanni Range in 1905. They never returned. Nothing was heard from Frank and Willie until brother Charlie McLeod led a search in the park in 1908, where he discovered two skeletons at their camp on the river's edge in a vast valley. Their heads had been severed, and one man lay with his arm outstretched towards his gun. The blankets were thrown across his brother, as if he had leaped suddenly from the bed. From that day forward, the valley has been known as Deadman Valley, and the creek called Headless Creek. It wasn't just the McLeod brothers who died or went missing in the park in the early 20th century. A Scottish engineer had been traveling with them and was never seen again, and Yukon prospector Martin Jorgensen met a similar fate in 1917. He had sent news home that he had struck it rich in the area. Not long after, his decapitated skeleton was found outside his cabin, which had been burned to the ground, spawning rumors of headhunters in the valley in Canadian newspapers. Numerous other reports from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police confirmed similar deaths, and a good number of people have simply vanished without a trace after setting foot in the park. Around the same time in the park's history, a series of unexplained plane crashes earned an expanse of mountains the name the Funeral Range, which borders the ominous Hell's Gate Rapids. A Decho chief tells stories of an ancient giant of Gantha. In the area of the Rabbit Kettle Hot Springs, the giant was said to cook his food in the hot springs. Whether giants roam the park or not, the hot springs do hold special cultural significance for the Decho people, who leave offerings like tobacco and dried meat at the springs for good luck. It's said if the springs are full, it's an auspicious sign. Later in the 19th century, UFO sightings and other strange lights have been reported in the park, and to this day, enthusiastic bloggers obsessed with cryptids recount stories of Amphicyonidae, a predatory bear-dog hybrid that went extinct in the Pliocene period, prowling the valley. Some of the disappearances have also been attributed to Bigfoot. Sightings of the creature as well as signs of activity have often been reported in various regions of the park. In the Tlicho region, some believe that Nagon, or Bushmen, have lived in the area for thousands of years. Tlicho people say that Nagon are hair-covered human-like creatures that steal people from bush camps. They also say that Nagon have powerful magic and lure people toward them. Certain areas within Nahanni are closed to visitors because of their sensitive ecosystems or cultural significance for the Indigenous Dene people. But some say the restrictions are as much about containing the park's supernatural forces as they are about keeping people out. While the headless deaths have all been confirmed by police reports and attributed to less mystical causes, such as the greed and rivalry that marked the lawlessness of the gold rush era, as well as the brutal, dangerous reality of isolation in the wilderness, the lore simply remains part of Nahanni National Park's mystery and allure. What is real, though, is the park's sacred, mythological presence in the collective minds of those who may consider trekking into this vast wilderness, which may work to help protect the area from further mining and environmental exploitation. These haunting, otherworldly accounts also serve as an allegory for the terrifying void that is nature itself. The fear of the unknown in a wild, uncharted land is part of the allure that explorers will always seek out. This concludes today's episode of the Paranormal Report. If you enjoyed today's episode, please give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel. It is due to your continued viewership and support that we are able to bring you interesting and informative videos like this. The team here at the Paranormal Report really appreciates your support.